Hey everybody. Hey, thanks for the tier 1 subscription. Thanks, Nola. Yes, I'm back. Got most of my voice back. How long it lasts tonight, I don't know. Oh man, I said last night that I really thought that this what was TD9 would get a name, and it sure did. And I thought I was right last night on the name, Humberto. I was pretty sure that name hadn't got used, but I thought one might have slipped by me. So, G. Phelps, Nola, Rick, One Adam, Skywarn, Southpaw, and everybody else. Uh, Thanks for joining me tonight. I don't know how long I'll be able to do this because I want to save my voice for when things really start getting serious. But I tell you what, it looks like this thing is going to behave itself, unlike Dorian. It really waited until it started wrapping around until after it got past Abaco. But it is Tropical Storm Humberto. And the latest info on it, as you can see on the ticker, 50 mile per hour wind. And it's got to get quite a bit stronger before it turns to a Cat 1. Pressure at 1,005. I think last night it was like 1,008. So the pressure is dropping. That means it's getting stronger. Now it's moving northwest instead of northwest. And it's up to 7 miles per hour. So now, last night, somebody asked me about that low in the Gulf, and it's like, I don't think that's going to do anything. Well, maybe. They have put an area to watch on that. Let me go full screen here. Look at this little feller over here. Over in the Gulf. Yeah, Skywarn, that was. It was you. I really don't think it's going to do much, but they have caught an interest in it. And look where it might form at. Yeah, right there on the coast of Texas. But tell you the truth, I really don't think it's going to do anything. Now, they have updated this page within 3 minutes. Yeah, I think they're thinking they're going to kind of merge. We'll take a look at that here in a bit. See what's up. But before I started streaming at 9:57, there was a page update, and now I see 3 minutes later there was another one. Let me refresh this page. I still don't have the 8 o'clock update. As you can see here, that is the 5 o'clock. And here it is 20 after 8. They should have updated that. Now, I know the Hurricane Hunter is out there right now. So apparently nothing's changed before they got a chance to do the 8 o'clock. The 8 o'clock is only an intermediate update anyway. They don't do the major update until, well, the 5 o'clock and 11 o'clock. So every other update on this 3-hour system is when they do the major But this little feller here, it's got a 20% in a 5 day. So we'll keep an eye on it. I really don't think it's going to do much. It may bring a lot of rain or something to the coast of Texas. Now, this one here, that's a 60% over 5 days. Now, notice the cone changed. So we need to take a look at that here in a bit. But let's go ahead and look at Humberto. And here's the latest cone on this. Boy, is that really looking like it's going to stay way offshore. And before they had it going a little bit further north before it took that big right turn. So we'll have to keep an eye on Bermuda because it's out that way. But some of the models that I've seen are showing Cat 1, some Cat 2, some Cat 3. Yeah, for some reason, they didn't change the info for the 8 o'clock. So apparently there's no change. But it's weird that they haven't posted that yet. I'll keep an eye on it here while I'm broadcasting. But if you notice, here on out has it as a hurricane. Now let's look at the cone of uncertainty. Now, like I've showed you all before, if it's in solid white, that's fairly certain. But the cone with the dotted lines in it, that's the cone of uncertainty. It's really uncertain where it's going to go from there. But it looks like it should turn to a hurricane sometime. Well, this says 2 a.m. Monday morning. We'll have to wait and see. Now here it is in motion. And this has got a lot better formed since last night. It's tremendous. Yeah, Humberto has been used a few times. Hey, Rippy, over on YouTube. And you can see this spin over here in the Gulf. That's a low pressure system that's got like a 20% for Texas. I don't think it's going to produce that much. We'll have to wait and see because that 20% is over 5 day. It kind of looked last night like it was going to try to move to the east, not the west. But you can see the center of circulation on this. That's where the center is right there. Hey, Raven. So there's a lot of disorganization with those storms right there, but it does have a good spin to it. Look at water vapor. Now it's going to flicker while it loads. We'll take a look at this thing. It's really looking like Humberto, though, is going to stay off the coast. Now, could it change its mind? If it's anything like Dorian, it sure could. But there's water vapor, and you could really see the spin in the upper level as far as moisture goes. And on a side note, what I really noticed, you'll see that red box over Arizona. That's a severe watch. So we got this thing down here, and there's another kind of weak low that's shoving moisture up into Arizona, and that's kind of weird for this time of year because they're well past their monsoon season. And then naturally, here's Humberto. He's got some nice spin. It still hasn't, you know, fully formed all the way around. But man, at times these storms, when they get real dark like that, that tells me they're really tall. Infrared, which is that's what this is looking at temperature, and the taller the cloud, the colder, the darker that it shows up. So at times, man, some of these storms are tremendous. What are you looking like in Europe? It's really hard because I don't have no radar for Europe, but let's take a look at some of the satellite for up there. Now I can't goes east doesn't. I mean, it shows the western part of Spain, but you can kind of see some of the storms that are headed for England and that. But you always get rain. You want rain? Go to England. I'm not sure. I lost track of Dorian when it totally fell apart up by Greenland. But you can see the edge of my satellite. Man, look at this storm over Africa. Holy cow. And that's way off from getting to the coast yet. Are you, Beanie? I want to visit the UK. It's on my bucket list. I don't think I'll ever get to go there, but I love uh, people from England and Ireland and Scotland. I started to date a girl once. She was from England. I couldn't stop listening to her accent. But here, what's coming off the coast and coming across. Now, I don't have any tracks yet for out there, but you can see these different model runs for Humberto. So, yeah, hello. I didn't finish dating her because she was a redhead, and I'm sorry, but I don't get along with redheads. But this out here should be that next system that they're talking about. But yesterday, well, last night, there was 3 areas to watch out here. Um, and now it's just down to one. But it's so far out that it's kind of crazy to watch. Now, I want to put this back in water vapor and let her load up. So We can kind of see what's going on in the atmosphere here. I'll turn off the Hurricane Center data. This is really cool stuff to watch. Now, notice last night, this brown, which is super dry air, was not there. So now we got some dry air encroaching that area. But most of these waves that come off of Africa are going well south of it. So it's not going to bother it any. Now we got this low counterclockwise spin. And there's a real broad spin, and let me put the high on it, and I'll point this out. It's about right in there. It's a really broad spin. That's a high pressure system out there. You can see it spinning clockwise. So that's going to help steer this, and that's probably the reason why. And let me pause this. It's probably the reason why that the models, let's pick a good color here, it's going to have this thing going like that. That high pressure is going to affect it. Turn this high off here. Now, I've also been looking at today, let's go to the goes west, look at the Pacific. See what's going on over yonder. And the reason why I do this, like I've said, for anybody new that's joining me, I like looking at the Pacific so I know what kind of severe weather is going to come here in the U.S. And I really don't see anything. I mean, there's a low. About right there. You can see with this water vapor mode, look below that or around that low system. See how the jet stream is dipping? That's the jet stream. And what I'm talking about is this area right here. It's really cool to watch that. You can get a pretty good idea where the jet stream is. So it's trying to produce a ridge. A ridge is where the jet stream will go north because of a high pressure. Let me turn this low off. So there's a bit of a high pressure system out here in Nevada. It's causing this jet stream to curve around and then come down. Wherever you got a ridge, there's always a trough. It's the wave of the jet stream. And I tell you what, folks, the last several days here in Southwest Ohio have been hot. Just extremely hot. And today, it was so cool. And that's because we had a cold front. Let me zoom in here, and goes back to East Satellite. Several days ago, Nathan Moore was chasing some storms out west, and then there were some storms in Chicago area and tornadoes, and that was due, and I'm going to pause it here, that was due to this thing. That's a low pressure. It actually came across and it's going up. But notice what it's doing here, folks. Here's a cold front. There's a cold front. that's the reason. Now I live about right in there where the yellow is. That's about where I live at. And it really cooled off today. I mean, it was beautiful, clear skies. When I went outside for coffee about noon, I had temperatures like 72 and no humidity to speak of. Now, this front, by the way, is actually going to affect Humberto. As this front scoots south, then that's also going to help to push Humberto out to sea between that and the high pressure. So that's going to be the main steering systems right now for it. Yeah, that's the way it here too. Yesterday, Rick. I mean, I couldn't even stand to sit outside, um, even late of a night. Night before last, like 2 o'clock in the morning, I still had 78 degrees, and dew point was like 71. So humidity was just awesome. If you like that. So let's go back to infrared. I wish I could show you visible, but it's too late of a night. Look at this low up here. Look at the spin on that thing. I'm not sure what my temperature is. Let's take a look. I'm at 73. That's my weather right here in College Corner, Ohio. That low right there, that counterclockwise spin, that is just awesome. I like watching that stuff. 86 there. Wow. It's a little warm. Now I am seeing some rain showing up on radar from Humberto. That's pretty far from the radar site. But it reaches out far enough so you can see. Now this is the Grand Bahama, and this is Abaco. That's what Dorian just set over top and wiped them out. So as you can see, this rain is north of there. So they figured out really good with this one. So the way the models are looking and everything, it is going to go out to sea. It's too early to tell yet if it's going to hit Bermuda. But at least the Bahamas is clear. Which, by the way, here's a little FYI. All those little things all up and down here, those are all the Bahama Islands. There's 700 islands in the Bahamas. Now only 30 of those are actually occupied. There's 700 islands out there. Little FYI. Let's put this rain in motion. It'll take a little bit. By the way, same time I'm talking to you all, I'm watching a race. I love my NASCAR. So you can see the rain, the motion of it, and you can see some of the outer rain band coming across Florida. Yeah, there's 700. but a lot of them you can't live there. They're running in Las Vegas. I think tonight is the last night of the regular season, and then they'll be running for the championship. This is the Xfinity class. The Cup class will be running tomorrow. So y'all make it hard on me because this race started at 7:30, and I'm trying to do an 8 o'clock update, so I'm missing part of my race. Y'all more important to me though. Well, hey Tammy, you're late, but that's okay. You didn't miss much. Here's a look at the whole U.S. and ain't much going on. There is some severe warnings that has been popping up over here in Virginia. It's all part of that line that passed by me last night, and it's all part of that cold front that's pushing. So here's Humberto, mi amigo. And I told y'all last night I thought Humberto was the next name, and I also said I thought by uh, this morning or afternoon this thing would finally get that name. I tell you what, that line it got close to me last night, and we didn't even get a sprinkle. My ex-wife up north, however, probably got rocked with some thunderstorms. Okay, for you Xfinity folks, Christopher Bell has won the first two stages of the race. So again, it looks like this is going to turn, go out to sea. By 2 a.m. Monday, it might make Cat 1 hurricane status as it turns and goes out to sea. Some of the models here, those different dots, those different colors are different models. Some of it have it reaching Cat 2. Some of it, the blue ones, even have it making Cat 3. Now, if you want to know where Bermuda is, Bermuda's right there. So you see some of those model tracks are actually headed that way. So we'll just have to wait and see. I hope they don't get hit. It's really small, but they have gotten hit many a times. Oh yeah, Nola, I'll do any kind of update if y'all interested. But I love my NASCAR and I love my drag racing. I'm an old drag racer. And my favorite funny car driver is John Porce, in case you want to know. Humberto, the latest info. Let's go double check and see if they updated the website. Now they're still showing the 5 p.m. Advisory, and it's 50-mile-per-hour winds. Pressure dropped a little bit from last night down to 1,005, and it has changed direction. Last night was northwest. Now it's going north-northwest. So it's starting to make that right turn a little bit, 7 mile per hour. Yeah, John Forrest, he's been there forever. And he won his last race, but the key one was the one before. That was his 150th race win. And then the last race was 151. So I'm really hoping that he'll win tomorrow. Oh, you know what, folks? You may not believe this, but I used to go to Indianapolis drag races all the time for years. I got to meet the whole family. They talk about John Force, Ashley, Courtney, Brittany. They never talk about the oldest one. At least he doesn't. But I got to meet her. She's actually married to Robert Hite, that runs his other funny car. And I got to meet her. She's nice. That whole family just sweet as can be. John would kill me if he ever do it, but I was kind of smitten on his wife Lori. But I got to meet the whole family, and John actually pulled me aside one time, and we talked because we got talking about Fords. That's when he still had a Ford sponsor. And I built a Pinto that had 1,005 horse or 1,050 horsepower motor in it, in a little Pinto. And once he seen the picture of that, man, me and him got along good. 90 in South Texas on the field, like yuck. You guys must. Well, we got this trough, over here in the east from that cold front. So, like I say, whenever there's a trough, there's a ridge. It starts that way. So you're probably starting to get a new ridge starting to form out there in Texas. Uh, Wheelie bars. Let me see if I can find a picture of that. I know this isn't weather, folks, but this was one of several race cars that I built. Here it is. I built this car from scratch. That was my Pinto. That was right after I painted it. Yeah. 671 blower on. And you could see on the back end of it, I had to put them wheelie bars. Half throttle, she pulled it up and scared me. I let off the throttle and I smashed my brand new headers that I just got done custom making. I had to custom make a lot of stuff for that. Yeah, the body was just about the only thing that was original. I put oversized disc brakes in the front, ended up having disc brakes on the rear. Now there it's got 14-inch wide slicks. Eventually I ended up putting 20-inch wide tires that were street legal, but they were the same as slicks. They were 20-inch wide under the back. Had to tub it, narrow the rear end and stuff. That was one of my beauty. And there, that yellow car in the background, that was my Mustang. That was my baby. That was my daily driver when I had my store. And before I got really bad, disabled, this is the last car that I started. When I got rid of the Pinto, actually that's the 20-inch wide tires tucked up underneath that wagon. 65 Falcon. That was the last car that was almost done. I built my own frames. I narrowed my own rear end. And did everything myself. I've had a lot of Mustangs. That yellow one, that was a 95. I don't have a picture handy. The black stripes that were on it, I actually custom made those. The side stripes, I owned a sign shop at the time, so I made my own side stripes. That was one of my hobbies before I got disabled, and I owned a computer store for 20 years, plus a sign shop, plus I was teaching a college course, 10 computer classroom in my store, and also was teaching at a vocational school. Kind of got away from weather there for a while, and then after I got bad disabled, then I had to let all that go. I even let that Falcon wagon go before I ever got a chance to finish it. That Pinto, I did a test run, and I didn't even have the blower cranked up. I was only pushing about 850 horse. It run 120 in an eighth mile. If I would have cranked the blower up and ran it a full quarter mile, yeah, she'd been up there, 180, 190 mile per hour and a quarter. She was quick. It was so light. It only weighed 2,000 pounds. And that was a big engine. That wasn't no small block. Hey, thanks, Branding Iron. How was your flight today? I seen you was live streaming, but I didn't get a chance to watch much. So, folks, that's pretty much all I've got for tonight. Again, there's Humberto, and it's behaving. It's keeping everything, as far as the storms go, everywhere except for were those two islands there in the Bahamas, the Great Bahama and the Abaco. All the storms are staying away from that, and that's somebody's watching over them. Oh, by the way, something that I seen earlier, one outfit, they're called, what is it, BBQ? Oh gosh, it was just on the tip of my tongue. BBQ Relief, I think's the name of it. These guys. Oh, autopilot messed up? How does autopilot mess up? But this BBQ, what they're doing is so cool. They're cooking meals there in Florida, I think around the Miami, and they're flying. They put the meals in containers to keep them warm, and they're flying them over to the islands and serving people these food, these dinners. 20,000 meals per day that they're cooking and flying over. You heard of Meals on Wheels for the elderly. This is Meals on Wings. Oh, when you turned AP off, you probably didn't have your trim set right. Your trim probably took over when you turned your autopilot off. But I thought that was pretty cool uh, that this barbecue relief was doing that for them people over in the Bahamas. It's just so cool. Um, and I tell you what, I feel kind of bad, when I ask you people at the end of my broadcasts that, if you can help keep me keep coming to you. Um, I'll tell you what, instead of sending me money, find a good place to donate to help them people out. I should have done that before, and I feel bad about it. I feel guilty. Them people need help bad. Salvation Army, Red Cross. Gosh, I can't think of the other ones that I found out about. I'll try to list those tomorrow. But I know Salvation Army and Red Cross and that BBQ Relief. I'll try to get, web link information if you want to donate to help them poor people in Bahamas. Because those people over there, until they started getting help, didn't even have clean water to drink. I don't know how they're surviving, except for now that they're starting to get some help. But oh man, some of the video that I've seen from Dorian, it just, oh my God, it was worse than any hurricane that I've ever seen. As far as how destructive and how many people was affected by it. So instead of donating to me, which really helps me, but donate to help them people out. Again, Salvation Army, Red Cross. I've done Red Cross before. They really help them out. Hey Molly, and that barbecue relief. There's a children's fund, but I can't remember the name of it. I'll get that information together for tomorrow and pass it along. $9:00 p.m. I don't have that turned on where you guys can hear it. So that's pretty much all I have for tonight. It does, like I say, according to the way all the models, there's the latest cone. And it's pretty well going to stay out to sea. Now, last night they did drop the tropical storm watches along the coast of Florida. Let me Change the cone here. It looks like they have dropped the tropical storm warnings for the Bahamas. So that's great. That's great to see. Hey, Moab. So right now I'm not seeing any tropical storm warnings or watches. So that's a good thing. Glad to hear. But that's the latest cone, folks. And we'll just have to wait and see if she heads for Bermuda. Anybody got any questions? Yeah, I'm really glad too, Nola. We really need to get this thing out to sea. And then naturally, I'm going to wait and see how that next one comes along. And, hey, Jen. But, here's the global model ensemble. And look how close all those lines are. That's all of the models, for once, are saying it's going out to sea. There's none there that hasn't changed of direction. So we're real confident that it's going to stay away. So we'll have to get ready for the next one. Which 96L they dropped off. No longer in the list. But we'll have to keep an eye on that one area. This one out here. That's a 60%er in 5 days. Now notice that cone with 96L yesterday, they had it headed for the Leeward Islands. So this one, if it stays in this cone, I really don't. I mean, you get the impression that it's going to head straight for Florida. Not necessarily, because of the Bermuda High that is out in here. That's most likely going to swing it up and away. So right now, I really don't expect much out of this one. Gabriel kind of did this, and Gabriel ended up going like that, something like that. And this little feller here, it doesn't have enough time, I don't think. Hey, Doc, I don't think this one's got enough time. It's only 20%er in the next 5 days. It's probably going to bring a lot of rain and stuff to Texas, but I'll keep an eye on it. So a lot of things has changed, since last night at the same time. I mean, we had 2 other areas to watch, and one of them was going this way for the Leeward Islands. Now that kind of had me worried, and that might come back. We have to wait and see. Right now, there's no area to watch other than this one, and that's a 60% in 5 day. And that's this one way out here, which looks, it's a jumbled mess right now. I'll put it into motion. But most likely it's not going to have any real spin. They usually don't when they're out in that area. You see, it's pretty much of a mess. But that's kind of typical. They got the DNA to produce tropical storm, but that area is really unfavorable for formation. So it's not going to form anything till it gets further west or northwest. Hey, thanks for the new follow. Now I'll show you the water vapor. And one thing that concerns me with the cone that they had is this brown area. That's dry air. So, and I'll pause and zoom in here. If this down here is going to kind of head up that way, then it's going to be fighting this dry air. And as you can see with the spin, there's high pressure right about there. So that's, I can't see that cone going up that direction with that high pressure. If you watch the clockwise spin around where I've got the high, that's going to try to push it west. And if you watch all these storms down here, notice how they're moving west. That's because of that high pressure system and the jet stream. But that's kind of typical to see these waves all broken up across that part of the Atlantic. You got to realize there's no fronts like we get here in the States or even in Europe. We don't have warm and cold fronts down in that part of the Atlantic. So it's just carrying that the moisture it picks up in that across. And then once it gets across, that's when we start seeing formation. Now, I guarantee you things are going to change by tomorrow night. I guarantee. So, we'll have to keep an eye on these. We got that high that I just showed you. We got this low up here. And that's what's kind of tearing this one apart. But it does be trying to get a spin right about where I got my mouse pointer. But that low pressure circulation there, I don't see anything becoming of that would affect the U.S. Now this tropical wave here, that's another story. I'll have to keep an eye on that. But right now the high, which is about right in the center right there, you watch even these real weak clouds, how they're spinning. Oh, nothing's going to form there right now. So there again, there's Humberto. That's what she looks like on infrared, and this is all the latest satellite images as I get them. They're live. So, folks, that's all I've got. There's just not a lot to really talk about right now. I'll keep an eye on this low here in the Gulf. You can see the spin on it. We'll keep an eye on that for the next couple of days and see what happens. And we'll keep an eye on Humberto. Now, could that change direction? Yes. Really don't look like it. But according to all the models are all saying the same thing pretty much. So there you go, folks. I want to thank everybody for joining me. Again, if you like what I do, instead of donating to me, donate to help them people over in Bahamas. So I'm going to be doing that for a while. I mean, I could use the help, but I'd rather see you help them people. They need it more than I do. So thanks, everybody. And I'll be back again tomorrow night, right around the same time, 8:10, 8:15. We'll do another one. If anything critical, pops up that I need to talk about, I'll pop in sooner. So thanks for joining me, everybody. And we'll see you on the next broadcast. Good night.